Hello all and welcome back to another wonderful My Little Pony Generation 5 news video. Today we're going to be talking about more My Little Pony Generation 5. We have what appears to be a map of the new Generation 5 world, so to speak, and I am going to be comparing that to the Generation 4 map here in a moment. I'll do that later, but we have a lot to go over today. A lot of stuff has happened. We have this puzzle release here, as you're seeing up on screen. They released a bunch of puzzles and stuff like that. As you can see, they each have different backgrounds. One of them actually contains part of a map, which I'll talk about later as well. But we also have this new GIF here containing part of the movie. Now this was in an Amazon ad, and this is what I want to start the video on talking about. So if we actually go to the source of this, it is right here on this Amazon ad. As you can see, if I play it, and we'll mute it, you can see how there is all kinds of backgrounds and stuff like that in this video. You can see the background of what that world might look like, that area of the world, Zephyr Heights, and you can see the video there of the movie. Obviously, it's showcasing the toy and things like that, and then the video actually ends on showing the flying Pomeranian, and it is more clear than ever that this is indeed a character with wings. As you can see there, it is very, very, very clear that this is indeed a dog or some kind of animal that has wings. Perhaps the flying Pomeranian that was teased in the description of the movie. Now, that's not anything necessarily new, but I did want to talk about that because it is something that we got a little bit better confirmation on, especially if we actually play the video here. You can actually hear where it actually barks. As you can see, it actually barks. So it is some kind of dog, and it clearly has wings of some kind. I just wanted to bring that to your attention because it does technically confirm that there is indeed a flying Pomeranian, and that was indeed the dog that we've heard so much about. But I also wanted to showcase the GIF here, the video file that was in that video that we just saw, for that trailer or whatever, for that toy. Doesn't really reveal too much, but it does kind of show them flying and everything like that. We know from other promotional material that the characters can't actually fly because there's no more magic, and that they use wires to fake it. I think we can very clearly see the wires in action here. We obviously can't see the wires themselves because they're not going to be animating the wires because there's no point in that. It's very clearly, the way that they move to me just feels very much like they're on wires just descending down and they're just moving their wings, faking it. It just feels like that is indeed what's going on here. You can see the queen here, proud of this, so to speak. Pip doesn't care at all. She's just on her phone. She doesn't care. She probably doesn't even want to be there. And then Zip is looking very proud of herself, almost as if she might be responsible for this, or perhaps she's just very prideful on her role as royalty or something like that. But I feel like it might have a double meaning with her being responsible for the wire contraptions that allow them to fly. Overall, this doesn't mean too much either. I really like it as well. This gem that she is wearing perhaps might be something that they need to be what they're trying to steal in the movie, because we know from the description of the movie that they're going to be trying to steal a jewel. Perhaps that's what they're trying to steal. Who knows? That may be unrelated. It might just be drolly. But it looks interesting. So take it that way you will. And let's move on to some more information, some more news, because we have this right here. Now, this image right here is the best image of the new Generation 5 map that we have. If I actually zoom out here a little bit, you can see that there's Maritime Bay down here. You can see Zephyr Heights, Brittlewood Forest, as you can see here. If we actually zoom in, you can see what looks like, a classic forest. Some kind of straight up city, perhaps Manhattan. I feel weird about that because that's not where Manhattan was previously, I don't think. We can actually look right here and look at the old map. As you can see, Manhattan is on the right of Canterlot, but on this other one, it's on the left. Now, it seems to match very closely with the Smoky Mountains area over here. The Brittlewood Forest, these mountains here, this city seems to match up very closely with the Smoky Mountains, and this, again, Hoover, this whole area right here just feels like it matches perfectly with that. Obviously, the Canterlot is matched perfectly with that, but then you have Maritime Bay way down here at the bottom, which is very interesting because the closest that we can get to the bottom in the Generation 4 map is, well, we can't really get to a bottom. Comparing it to the other map, which I've done, I've played around with it a little bit, and I'll put that up on screen here. But you can see how, I've tried to put the Generation 4 map behind the picture and change the opacity and stuff like that. This is what we got. Maritime Bay, as you can see, seems to match up with the Macintosh Hills. It seems to match up with Macintosh Hills or the Appaloosa area. That's what seems to match up with this old map here. It seems to be that sort of area. Perhaps a little bit further down or so, but maybe this area or so. But it seems to match with that area. Somewhere in that general area is where that's going to be. We can see that it's clearly changed a lot. If we go back to this map, you can see how there's like a whole city there, and this is like a whole beach coastal thing. That doesn't appear to be the case here unless it is trying to rearrange everything, which I'm not going to be surprised if they do, but it is a little bit disappointing at the same time because this is supposed to be the same universe, it's supposed to take place in the same world, so it's going to be very interesting and honestly a little bit sad in some places if they start moving things and removing things. Now, for me, it makes perfect sense that Canalot be the new place of the Zephyr Heights, where the Pegasus live and rule, so to speak, because it's way up on a mountain like so. As you can see, it's very clearly way up on a mountain, but it's also kind of close to Cloudsdale, so altogether it kind of feels like the perfect place for them to transition into. You can imagine if all these ponies were suddenly unable to, sit on these clouds, they fall to the ground, they somehow survive, they're going to go straight to these mountains because it's the highest place and they're used to being high up in the sky. So it makes sense that that would be the natural transition of where they go and try to make a new life of. Now, again, looking at this map, you can see how they are definitely separated. It appears that, I don't know if this is a train tracks or if this is borders or not. I feel like it could be borders, but, you have this little thing here as well, which might look like trains as well. Maybe it's just a river, I don't know, but it almost looks like where they're bordering things off. If we look really closely, it appears that there's actually just water right here where her head is, because it almost looks like there's a cliff here, and then there's just the ground ends right there, and it's just ocean or something. So it almost appears that this place is very, very almost flooded in a way, which is kind of strange to think about. But as you can see, there is more what appears to be train tracks or something like here. I'm curious if these train tracks indeed are like relics of Gen 4, where the train tracks just go through every single town, and perhaps they are working together. They're just not, trusting each other. Perhaps they're still trading with each other on a very, very like, hey, I don't trust you kind of way, but we have to trade to survive kind of way, or something like that. And perhaps that's what's going on here, where they are working together. Now, the puzzles, as I mentioned earlier, we have a whole bunch of puzzles. Just a ton of puzzles. A lot of these backgrounds don't really share anything new other than like, hey, this looks kind of cool. This seems to be in Zephyr Heights. That looks kind of cool. And stuff like this where we get another look at the lighthouse. Nothing too fancy and too interesting, but there is one puzzle that is very, very interesting to me, and that is this one here. This one here appears to be, again, in Zephyr Heights. They appear to be in some kind of room or area where they're studying, researching something, working on something, making blueprints, etc., etc. And if we actually zoom in here, we can actually see what appears to be another map. It's very interesting to me, especially since it doesn't seem to match up with this map anywhere, and it doesn't seem to match up with this map anywhere. And it's very interesting because it's like this coast cove. Maybe you could argue that it's this kind of area here, but it doesn't really seem to match with literally anything. And so this is another glimpse of another part of the Generation 5 map, another glimpse of another part of the world. Now, of course, the background itself, everything around here isn't anything new. This is obviously Zephyr Heights, but this map right here is definitely revealing a lot more than we realize. There appears to be some kind of symbol on there. I don't know if that's a compass. It's extremely blurry. I wish I had the original like file of this so that it wouldn't be as fuzzy and hairy as this, but I can't find it. But suffice it to say, that appears to be perhaps a compass, but if not, that could be, a symbol of, the people that are here and everything like that. It could be the symbol of Zephyr Heights and stuff. But there appears to be a big circle here with a couple of marks. It's very hard to tell, but there's a couple of like reddish, blackish marks here. And then, of course, another one there. And then a line going up to this document here, going up to this big X with a circle around it. It's just a file. It almost looks like they're like gearing up for war almost. And I know that sounds weird and crazy, but it almost feels like they're planning some kind of not a raid, but some kind of plan to go invade these areas and do something with them, or perhaps they're trying to look for something. It could be they're trying to look for the gem that is described in the description of the movie and stuff like that. It could be anything, but it almost looks like they, and this is probably just my own conspiracy brain, but it almost looks like they're trying to, here on the far right over here, we can see this board here. I can't zoom in any further, but you can see there appears to be a board here with, it almost looks like blueprints to me, and I know that's a stretch, but it almost looks like they've sketched out some kind of plan for some kind of contraption in this general area here. There appears to be some kind of pot here with some tools or something in there as well. This little thing here is impossible to tell what it says. A lot of these papers and stuff like that are impossible to make out what they are or what they're trying to do. But again, you see another conspiracy board type thing here where they have papers with circles and lines going all over the place and everything. And then of course they have this big lamp looking directly at what appears to be another map right behind them. This appears to be a painting of a map, but it definitely looks like a map to me. I could be wrong about that. It could just be a picture of a specific location, and just that one location or something. And perhaps this is what they're trying to find. They're trying to find wherever this painting is. And so they're they have this map here, and they're trying to X out different locations and figure out theories on where this could be and stuff like that. Overall, it just feels like this is a very, very important background. It looks like this is a place where they are trying to figure out a huge, huge mystery. They're trying to find something, or they're trying to plan an invasion of some kind. It more looks like they're trying to find something than an invasion, but it would be pretty fun to see them try to plan an invasion of some kind. That pretty much does it for all the news here that we have. We have, of course, the old map, the new map, and then the fusion of these maps. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this like weird fusion of a map that I put together. It kind of lines up with some of the stuff, but it doesn't line up properly. They have shifted a lot of things, and it's very clear that they've shifted a lot of things. Or perhaps it's just because of this one promotional picture, because this picture that we have isn't technically an official look at the map. So it's probably just scrunched up the most important places in the map that we're going to see and visit in the movie or something. So it's probably not like obviously the final look of the map, but it looks really good. I like the location of everything, and overall it's neat for me. I like it, and it does seem to line up with some of the stuff that we had in the previous generation. So like I said, let me know what you think of that map. Let me know what you think of this weird puzzle, and what you think of like what this painting might be, and what these documents and stuff like that they're trying to figure out. Let me know all that stuff. We know in the description of the movie that they're trying to solve some kind of conspiracy, or that there is some form of conspiracy. Perhaps that's what they're trying to figure out and solve in this area here. That's going to do it for the video. I do hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please do consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and doing all those wonderful things like that. Because when you do those wonderful things like that, not only do you get access to wonderful content such as this, but you also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.